My point of view, movie review. Yo, it's time to go back in time again for another retro joint. 007, James Bond, Roger Moore in 1977's The Spy Who Loved Me. This is Roger Moore's third film as the great 007. By this time, you can tell the man was comfortable in the role and he owned it in this movie. Dude was magnificent as 007 in The Spy Who Loved Me. Now, this movie had a really simple plot. The evil person or the antagonist in this movie was really close and loved water. He wanted to blow up New York, Russia, sink half the nation, and live underwater and take over the world from underwater. That's pretty much the plot. But there was a subplot in this movie that kind of corresponds with the title. In the very beginning opening credits of this movie, James Bond was on a mission. Again, his brother was skiing again out there on the slopes. He killed his one Russian guy and got away scot-free. Jumped off a cliff in one of the most amazing stunts in James Bond history. His parachute opened up with the British flag and boom, opening credits as the lady catches his hand and starts singing the theme song. Well, that person that was killed was the lover of the agent who worked for the Russians. She and James Bond ended up working together on this mission because they both had common threats and the person who was stealing these submarines. They were called the tracker of submarines. This one person was going through all out the nation and stealing their nuclear submarines. So the Russians and the British intelligence had to hook up and work together. And she finally asked him, "Are you the one that killed my lover?" And James Bond said, "It was either him or me." She goes, "Okay, that's fine. I'm professional. I can do my mission. But when this mission is over, James, I'm going to kill you." So through the whole sequences of this movie, they're working together, knowing that I got to kill this fool. But slowly but surely, as always, she's falling in love with James. Because throughout the movie, they're saving each other from death. This was the first movie that introduced Jaws, the big, intimidating 7'2" monster-like creature, man with those metal teeth going around biting things. And the first scene when I seen him, they was in Cairo, then in Egypt, and the mission was to kill this one person, and James Bond got there a little bit too late. And they show a scene where Jaws is biting this dude on the neck. I'm like, did he just bite that motherfucker to death? That's what happened. I mean, James, dude, you're a little bit too late. But that dude, Jaws, is vicious in this movie. He's very intimidating. This movie had wonderful storytelling, beautiful scenery, and great action. It was spread out just enough where it wasn't too much over the top, and it was just enough to come in at the right time to keep the story moving. One of my favorite scenes is on the train, and they're sharing a cabin. James is trying to get in homegirl's drawers, but she's not having it just yet because, you know, hey, I'm being professional, I'm Russian, you're British, we don't mix. Well, Jaws was hiding in her cabin, jumped up, tried to kill that woman. One of the best fight sequences in close quarters. And every single time James Bond get rid of this dude, he should die. He fell, he kicked him out of a window on a moving train, went tumbling down through an electric fence, got up and did like this. Now I'll be back. When they was fighting over in Egypt, dude got hit by rubble, damn near ran his ass over. The dude was incredible, he just won't die. They smashed him up against a brick wall with a van. Dude got up. I'll be back. These movies are always known for James Bond gadgets. This movie, probably in Roger Moore and 007 in history, had the best gadget of all time. And that's his car. Had this beautiful sports car, man, that was white. And it doubled as a submarine. But we get to that part later. There's a breathtaking scene where they're on the mountains and they're going through this curvy road. Right outside the mountain is a big cliff. They're going through there in between cars and trucks, and this guy's chasing them on a motorcycle. Well, this car spits out oil and had people tumbling, man. This movie was incredible. But he killed the guy on the motorcycle, right? And then later on, Jaws is back with his other henchmen chasing him in a car. They're going through all kind of places and all kind of things. That oil comes out and gets on the windshield. Boom! Went off a cliff. The car landed, feet far down into a house, killing everybody. The front door opens up. Here comes Jaws. Yeah, I'll be back. Love this movie. Then, after that sequence, a helicopter shows up with this beautiful, gorgeous villain chasing down James Bond and his woman. Going through the mountains again, she's shooting machine guns out this helicopter. Some of the best chase sequences you'll ever see. Some great stunts. Well, she was whooping their ass. So James Bond had no choice but to go off and get into the water. She's like, James, we're gonna die, we're gonna drown. Hold on, my dear. The car doubles as a submarine and is underwater, floating and gliding. And homegirl still shooting machine guns, missiles and bullets into the damn water. James Bond says, let me click this button here. Boom. Shot a missile from underwater, blowing the hell out of that helicopter and blowing that beautiful woman to smithereens. This movie is badass. And right after that scene, there's people under the water trying to kill him again. He had to escape some more. This movie had action, action, action. This sequence seemed like 15 minutes. It's the best part of the movie. They escape and they roll up out the water onto a beach. People are looking, going, oh my God. People look at their drinks like, what the hell? James Bond rolls down the window in one of the most iconic scenes of all time. Has a fish, looks at it and throws it out the window and drives off. This movie is badass. Then he gets to the third act. They finally found out how this man is stealing and kidnapping these submarines. He has a big old gigantic ship that opens up and swallows submarines whole, captures all their men, make them slaves, and make them work for him as he's taking all the nuclear subs from all the powers of the world. With James Bond finally getting there and infiltrate this place. And this movie, maybe besides A View to a Kill, this movie is very violent. Over 100 plus people die in this movie. Gunshot wounds, stab wounds. This movie is violent. Well, the main villain escapes out with the escape pod and goes to his lair, which is this thing that came out the water with these like 4 massive arms. It's very intimidating looking, but that was his secret lair as he wanted to watch as these nuclear subs blew up New York and Russia. Well, James Bond, of course, foiled the crime and some of the most elaborate stunts you've seen. And they finally escape and goes to the lair. And this movie has everything. This dude had an elevator that opens up, and if he thought you was foul, he'll feed your ass to the sharks. This dude was feeding women to sharks. That worked for him. This dude was a true villain. He didn't look menacing, but his actions spoke louder than words. But towards the end, all kind of sequences of him fighting Jaws, and him and Jaws had an incredible fight scene you will never forget. Only way he can beat his ass is turn on a giant magnet. That thing came and grabbed his ass by the mouth and lifted his ass up. They could not get rid of Jaws for nothing. At the end, they blow this thing up, killing everybody. You think, okay, Jaws is dead. No, this fool is swimming out from the wreckage like, okay, I'll be back, James. I'm gonna get your ass in Moonraker. I'll be back. And James finally tapped that ass of the Russian woman. She pulls out the gun. As he's popping champagne, well, are we going to celebrate, my dear? We saved each other's lives, and our governments work together to solve the crime. James, you don't understand. I have to kill you. He said, well, we said something real smooth. I don't remember. She goes, oh, James, and tap that ass. As always, it's always an iconic, funny scene at the very end. Where's James? We can't find him. They turn on the little TV computer and there he is. They're looking through the window and he's in there tapping that ass. He hits his little thing and a curtain comes down inside this escape pod. Really, really funny. Beautiful women in this movie. And James, once again, I counted 3 women and he beat up sexually. I'm like, damn, James, you just have fun in these movies. But The Spy Who Loved Me had a very iconic song in the beginning. When you hear it, you'll recognize it. Not one of my favorites, but it's still good. And this movie is gorgeously shot. The parts over probably in Egypt are my favorite because it is gorgeous out there. The sands and the mountains and the pyramids, it is gorgeous to look at. And again, that car, probably the most iconic special weapons you've ever seen from the British intelligence in this movie. This movie is a 10 out of 10. I love The Spy Who Loved Me. Roger Moore as James Bond 007. You gotta see this joint. You will not be disappointed. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments. And let's talk about that James Bond, baby. And yo, as always, it's just my point of view.